change a little bit systematically in how you forecheck according to some of your players. And they say it's going to take some time. You got two veteran lines in tonight, the third and the fourth line, you want to keep them together. What do you look for in that role? Are you expecting maybe a few errors as they adjust to a new system? Is that just part of the process?
Yeah, and the most challenged group might be the veterans because they're trained a certain way right now. And old dogs will have to learn new tricks. And along the way, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be mistakes in October, November, December. There's going to be mistakes in April. It's a game of mistakes. There isn't a perfect game. And that's okay as long as they're effort mistakes and something that we can work on. If they're delinquency mistakes, then we have problems. But we have adjusted some things, and we'll see how it goes with our group.
Todd, Benson, McLeod, and Yamamoto are back in tonight. Was that predetermined well before today, or did you just want to see a bit more?
For the first two games, we built some ghost rosters, if you will. Completing the Calgary roster right away, and we left spots open for players that performed well and deserved a secondary opportunity. That group as three has been quite good, and they deserve another night. Obviously, they've all played back-to-back games in their careers in their own respectful leagues, but now you're doing it at the National Hockey League level. There's a physical test, strenuous test that comes through, and we'll see how they handle that both physically and mentally.
Nurse intangibles that aren't obvious to the average media guy.
I'm sorry, it's echoing.
Nurse intangibles that aren't obvious to the average media guy.
Nurses intangibles, is it? Okay. Nurses intangibles. Well liked by his teammates. Great teammate. Brings some energy and passion to the rink that rubs off on other guys. Willing to sacrifice himself personally. Now, that can be interpreted in a number of different ways. Blocking shots, the physicality, that type of stuff. But he always puts team first. There's not a lot of selfishness in that young man's body. So when you carry yourself, you act, you behave like that, you rub off on others. So I guess you could call it leadership skills as well.
Todd, you kept the McLeod, Benson, and Yamamoto together, all young players. McLeod, has he kind of come out of, not nowhere, but, second-round draft choices don't really show quite as much as he's shown so far. He looks like he's got lots of jump, a lot more game than some second-round draft. He's not a rounder.
Well, Tyler Benson's a second-round draft pick that's had trouble, with his body and injury and whatnot. So there's another player, that you can put in that situation. But when you begin to dissect first round, second round, it's only 10 picks apart. McLeod could have easily snuck in the first round. Had we had two picks, maybe we would have picked him in the first round. I don't put a lot of credence into that. I look at how he carries himself, how he performs, and he's doing some really good things offensively. And like a lot of young players, he's got to learn some things defensively. But he's astute. He's eyes wide open, ears wide open, asking good questions. To me, there's no fear in his game right now. He's not afraid of being here. He's not intimidated, and I think that's why he's showing well.
Todd, Mikko Koskinen, he struggled last night. Is that kind of an area of concern, or is that something that you think just has to kind of feel his way into the new league, into the new rink, things like that?
Well, you're taking a CFL quarterback and putting him in the NFL or vice versa. The size of the field, the number, how quick it closes on you, that type of stuff, the environment you're in. It's a different game, and he's got to get used to that over here. You could say, geez, he had 2 days of scrimmage, and it doesn't work that way. Goaltenders take a little while to find their games, much like pitching in baseball early in the preseason. So we expect him to rebound. We expect him to get better, to get more comfortable. I think sometimes, too, when you come in with that type of pressure, you almost play like you want to win the Stanley Cup that night. I think the next night he comes out, hopefully he relaxes a little bit and things go a little better for him.
The fallback position on a guy like Yamamoto is to send him to the minors because he's a first-year pro, doesn't have to pass waivers. But for him to make the team, I get it. He's got to check. He's got to be responsible, do all that stuff. But does he pretty much have to score his way onto the team to tilt the
No. I think the scoring comes after doing a whole bunch of things. And all our players should be looking at it that way. Scoring comes after the forecheck, the tenacity, the read, the react, the effort, putting yourself in position to score. If he's doing all of those things and he's drying up a little bit at certain phases, even the best player in the world sometimes dries up for a little bit. As long as they're doing the right things, they're eventually going to score. And, you know, we can't pick our team based on convenience. You know what? Put him there because this guy he has to clear waivers, all that type of stuff. We got to win games. We got to win games early. We got to win a lot of games early. We got to get some confidence in our team, and we have to pick the guys that give the best chance, the Oilers the best chance of doing that. And if it's Yamo, then it's Yamo. And I brought a group of right wingers in the other day, and I talked to them. And I kind of discussed where we are in camp before we started playing exhibition games. And there may be room for 2 of those individuals, and there may have been 5 or 6 of them in there. They'll sort it out. Just because you played in the league before doesn't mean you have a job.
Scotty Upshall as well. Does he, you know, we thought that we saw what missing Matt Hendricks, the dent it left in this team last year. It sure seemed that way anyhow. He comes in, you know, he's on a PTO, but maybe tell us what.
The combination of Matty Hendricks' ability to bring what he does bring and losing Sekera was a hit to our team. And, you know, it was something that affected our group. There is some of that in the thought process. Can Scotty Upshall, can Alex Chason, Jason Garrison, these veteran players that have played on some good teams and played for a long time, can they bring that presence? Because that's an extra attribute that they bring to the group, and it can only help.
Todd, a two-part question. Where do you see Darnell Nurse fitting in? And then with his addition, what's your message to, you know, some of those guys, those depth guys that, you know, it would be a lot tougher for them to get a spot with Nurse coming back? What's your message to those guys?
Well, Darnell will fit into the top 4, and he'll play in a lot of different situations. That's just a given. And I see his learning curve very steep right now, and he continues to climb it. So that's a real good thing for us. I don't feel like he's fallen behind at all. It's only been 2 days. We sat with him. We went through what we've talked about in training camp. He's got it. So we're comfortable that way. As far as the rest of the group, the way I look at it is we've got 4 veteran players right now, and we're planning on carrying 7, maybe 8. What an opportunity. Not every team, and there's 30 other teams. I don't know if anybody has that. You know, 5 veterans. What are we at, 4 or 5? Whatever we're at anyhow, there's spots open. And there's opportunity for those younger guys.